And on behalf of the Institution of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers, Bhopal chapter, I welcome all of you. We have a very young and dynamic researcher, Mr. Sailen Singh Oza, and he is actively working on RF power harvesting, and he has worked with me during MTech program also on the same topic. So he is continuously working on this. So today he will demonstrate his findings plus basics of RF power harvesting. So I invite Mr. Oja to start presentation. Please, Mr. Oja.
Thank you, sir. A very good morning to one and all present here. Thank you for inviting me to this webinar and for giving me the opportunity to talk about the vibrant topic RF power harvesting. I am especially thankful to Professor Dr. P.K. Singhal, sir, who gave me this opportunity. Now, actually, I'm going to share a screen. I think my screen should be visible.
Press the slideshow. So let me check whether the slides are changing or not changing. Just press F5 or slideshow. Yes, and now change to go to the next slide.
Yes.
Okay, and in bottom there is one hide button is there. You just press that hide button. Okay, so you start from the first slide. Very much first slide. Good.
Thank
Fine.
you, sir. Thank you, sir. Actually, we all know that to operate any device, that may be sensor, that may be electronic device, or that may be any other device, for every device we need power. But we know that if we'll go to if we'll talk about the conventional power sources, that means that may be battery. Generally we use DC power, and there are a lot of challenges, and we'll discuss about those challenges also. And we know around us there is a lot of energy. If somehow we can take energy from that, that will be very much useful, and that will be the future of our generation. So here the concept of power harvesting comes into existence. So let us discuss what is power harvesting. It is the process by which power is derived from the external sources. And while we are moving towards power harvesting, actually, due to the renewable sources, and it allows for remote charging in applications. You can see this is the simple example of solar energy where no wires are associated. However, it is a one kind of wireless power harvesting. Our harvesting background. Actually, power harvesters provides a small amount of power for low energy electronics, and the sources for power harvesting is present as ambient, and they are free as well. And if once we'll able to get good harvesting systems, then they are very much cheaper. And why use power harvesting technology? Because converted energy can be stored in a capacitor for short-term use or a battery for long-term use. It is not like that if somehow due to any kind of variation, if regular energy is not present, then we can use whatever energy we have stored in batteries. And there are various ways to harvest power. There are some materials, I think all of you are familiar, like piezoelectric materials, pyroelectrics, and photovoltaics. And other forms are kinetic energy and RF energy. And today I will talk about the RF power harvesting. So I will especially talk about RF energy harvesting and various methods associated with it. And the concept of energy harvesting is to receive energy from surrounding sources and convert it into a usable form to power any applications or store the energy for future use. And RF power harvesting mainly converts RF signal into DC power. Actually, it seems to be very easy. However, it is not that much easy. It is quite complex and complicated method, and to achieve good systems is not easy. Is a tough task actually. So if you will see, RF energy is available around us in various frequency bands, and that is due to the cell phones, radio towers, Wi-Fi routers, laptops, TV signals, and there are many other sources as well. Motivation for wireless energy harvesting is actually an early definition of wireless power harvesting system was a unit that emits electrical power from one place and captured at another place. And this is also called as the dedicated wireless power harvesting. However, nowadays there are a lot of RF signals around us, so that is called as ambient RF power harvesting. And this is the conceptual block diagram of RF power harvesting. If once we'll understand this block diagram, that means we can understand the whole idea of RF power harvesting and how we can design RF power harvesting system. So let us discuss this block diagram. You can see here, obviously there must be some source of RF energy, and that may be in form of RF tower, that may be in form of Wi-Fi router, whatever. So you can see here there will be RF power generator and transmitting antenna, and it will be transmitted into the free space. Actually, we are not bothering about this system, transmitting system, if we are talking about the ambient power harvesting. And especially we will concentrate on this system, that is the wireless power harvesting circuit. And if you will see here, then first we need to design antenna. Antenna means first we should know around us in which frequency ranges there is much energy. So obviously we should design antenna in that particular bandwidth. And to design antenna, that doesn't mean that task is over. After that, task will start. So after that, we'll need to design impedance matching network. If we'll not consider impedance matching network, then actually the efficiency will be very less for this type of circuits, and we'll get almost negligible output voltage and very less efficiency. And in designing impedance network, we need to consider reflection coefficient as well as S11 quality factor, and we should know also resonant frequency and bandwidth. That means if we have designed, and for example, if we have designed antenna at 2.45 gigahertz, and if our impedance matching network is working at, for example, 3 gigahertz, then it is useless. And if antenna have some bandwidth, then this impedance matching network should also have that bandwidth and must resonate at that frequency. And after that, there is a rectifier. And in rectifiers, we cannot use conventional diodes, as we know that we cannot use conventional devices at higher frequencies. So here we will need a special type of diodes, that is Schottky diode. And we need to consider various parameters here also. For example, there are various parameters associated with the rectifiers that will vary with respect to frequency, impedance, and many things. After that, there will be a power management unit where we can store energy. And finally, the application. Wherever we want, we can use it. For example, any kind of IoT sensor, or anything we can use here. And simple example maybe to blink LED we can use here. Now it all is explained here that what is the use of each and every component in this block. That means antenna, matching circuit, rectifier, power management unit, and finally the application. See, if we are designing a wireless power harvesting system, then there must be some parameters so that we can come to know whether this particular system is working up to mark or not. So for evaluating the performance of the wireless power harvesting system, we need to calculate, to evaluate some parameters like efficiency, sensitivity, operational distance, output power, to actually to make standard comparison between various power harvesting systems. So RF DC power conversion efficiency, actually this is the ratio between the amount of power supplied to the load and that received by the antenna. Generally, the RF DC power conversion efficiency covers the efficiency of the rectifier, voltage multiplier, and storage element. That means we cannot say that this is the efficiency of the diode only. This is the efficiency of the overall system. That may include the rectifier, voltage multiplier, as well as storage elements. So power conversion efficiency can be simply calculated as the ratio of the power delivered to the load and the power received. And mathematically, we can see here eta PC is equal to P load upon P retreat. Next is the sensitivity. And you know that the sensitivity of a wireless power harvesting system is defined as the minimum limit of incident power that is required to trigger the operation of the system. And sensitivity may be defined as the 10 log at base 10 P upon 1 milliwatt. And remember that the threshold voltage of Schottky diode affects sensitivity. And a lower threshold Schottky diode is more sensitive, but comes with more leakage current, which reduces the overall efficiency. And next is the output power. We know that usually the output of the wireless power harvesting system is DC power, which is characterized by the load voltage. And measuring open load voltage demonstrates the performance of wireless power harvesting. And if the load is a sensor, then voltage becomes more important than current. While for the applications like electrolysis or LED, current is a dominant parameter. So actually, we should also know that for which particular application we are designing the wireless power harvesting system. Now, let us talk about the designing of wireless power harvesting system. Now we know the all components of the wireless power harvesting system. And remember that communication antennas have been studied for decades. However, for power harvesting antennas are currently in development stage. At first, antennas classification was based on design characteristics and application. There are many types of antennas which are used in wireless power harvesting, like wire antennas, aperture antennas, printed planar antennas, reflector antennas. So these are the some antennas, like you can see here. This is the patch antenna, planar antenna, microstrip antenna, and this is the array of patch antennas. Moreover, the antenna is related to the frequency energy obtained from the antenna with a small bandwidth than a wideband receiver antenna and used for capture signal from multiple sources. And in the antennas which are used for the wireless power harvesting generally should be either wideband or they should be multi-band, so that at the same time they receive more power. They can provide more power to the rectifier circuit. And it has been seen generally that wideband antennas generally provides more output. However, they will provide less efficiency uh, because the matching networks are not that much well performed at the wide bands in comparison to at particular bandwidth. So let us see impedance matching networks also. In a low power consumption electrical system, power leakage during transmission may lead to energy inefficiency. So in wireless power harvesting systems, impedance matching networks ensures the maximum power transfer between RF source and load. There are basically three types of matching networks are found, like L, T, and pi matching network. You can see here, this is the L matching network, reversed L matching network, T network, and pi network. And various parameters means various values of this Z1, Z2, Z3 are calculated, and then they are simulated on some particular softwares. Like ADS is a good software for the designing of a rectifier as well as matching circuits, where we can see whether it is performing well or not, whether it is wideband or not, and then we can fabricate, and finally we can check. Next are the voltage multipliers or rectifiers. RF energy extracted from free space usually possesses low power density, since the electric field power density decreases at the rate of 1 by d square, where d is the distance from the RF source. Therefore, a power amplifier circuit is required that yield enough DC energy from the electromagnetic waves to drive the loads. And we should remember that we can use these rectifiers after impedance matching network. And the work of impedance matching network is to provide the impedance matching between the impedance of antenna and impedance of the rectifier. Here we can see some basic type of the rectifier topologies, like this is the half wave rectifier topology, full wave rectifier topology, and full wave bridge rectifier topology. And if I will say that these bridge rectifiers and simple half wave and full wave rectifiers are not used, then you may be surprised. Actually, at higher frequencies, every device will behave differently, and so we need to consider various parameters as well, like leakage current, variation in the impedance of the diode, and variation in the parasitic capacitances and other parameters. So these are the commonly used voltage multiplier configurations, like Cockcroft-Walton voltage multiplier and Dickson voltage multiplier. This is the 3-stage multiplier, and this is the 4-stage multiplier. And they can perform very well, and they can provide better efficiencies, as well as the level of output voltage will be large. So the Dickson multiplier in figure is the modification of Cockcroft-Walton's configuration, with the stage capacitors being shunted to reduce parasitic effects. And the Dickson multiplier is preferable for small voltage applications. However, it is challenging to obtain high power conversion efficiency due to high threshold voltage among diodes, creating leakage current, thus reducing the overall efficiency. So in some cases, efficiency may be decreased, But surprisingly, it increases the output voltage, as output voltage is also a factor of load resistance. Additionally, for high resistance loads, output voltage drops drastically, leading to low current supply to the load. Schottky diodes are the rectifying elements, such as diodes or transistors are indispensable components of the rectifier voltage multiplier block, which determine operational frequency and power conversion efficiency. Traditionally, a Schottky diode was used because of its low threshold voltage. When it comes to microwatt applications, Schottky diode face some limitations in RF-DC conversion efficiency because of their high zero bias junction resistance. Here I will show you as commonly used Schottky diodes like HSMS2850, HSMS2852, 2860, 285B, 285C, SMS7630. So by observing the data sheet and for which application and in which frequency ranges we are going to design wireless power harvesting system, we can choose appropriate Schottky diode. And now, wireless power harvesting system designing protocol. First, we should know the application requirement. Then we should choose the operating frequency, operation distance, output power. We should specify these three parameters. Then we should design antenna, voltage multiplier circuit, impedance matching network, and after that we should evaluate the parameters which we have seen, like efficiency of the rectifier circuit, sensitivity, output power. If whatever goals we have decided, if they are achieved, then yes, our wireless power harvesting system is designed. Otherwise, we should go back and again we should work on the operation frequency, operation distance, output power, and again we should do the designing, and again we should evaluate the parameters. If the goals are achieved, then it's okay. Otherwise, we should repeat the previous steps. This is what is explained here. So if I will, there is a lot of work which has been done in this field. I am going to show you some Ractinas. Actually, Ractina is a heart of wireless power harvesting system. If we have designed Ractina, that means we can say that 95% we have designed wireless power harvesting system. So I have taken one of the best Ractinas which has been designed ever. If we will see here, over 50% measured conversion efficiency is achieved. It seems to be very, that means it seems to be a very normally designed antenna. But if we will concentrate here, very wide input power range. That means from -10 to 25 dB. There is no Ractina till today which can provide 50% of conversion efficiency from -10 dBm to 25 dBm. This is the beauty of this Ractina. And you can see here, this is the fabricated Ractina. And it can provide the maximum power of maximum voltage of around 2.7 at 17 dBm of input power and around 0.4 at 2.5 dBm of input power. And you can see here the conversion efficiency. They have been shown here the conversion efficiency from -20 to 30 dB, and it is well above the 35%. And for HSMS 2850 diode, you can see here, it is almost greater than 40%. And in this range, that means from minus 10 dBm to 15 dBm, it is providing the efficiency greater than 50%. So we can say this is the very nice antenna, very nice rectina. Next is the another type of rectina. Again, it seems to be simple, but it is a ultra wideband rectina. It is also providing efficiency greater than 50%, as we have already seen that as the bands increases, as the number of bands increases or the frequency ranges increases, efficiency decreases, but output voltage will increase. So this is the rectina that can cover power from the frequency range 0.9 gigahertz to 3 gigahertz. That means this single rectina can cover GSM band, Wi-Fi band, and WLAN bands as well. And the maximum conversion efficiency is of 73.4%, and which is realized at 3 dBm of input power. You can see here the conversion efficiency graphs. This is the graph of conversion efficiency with respect to the frequency, and this is the graph which is showing the variation with respect to the input power. You can see here the output voltage also. It is providing almost 1.7 volt, and at 15 dBm, it is providing the very nice voltage, but 50 dBm should not be considered as it is the very large power. And this is again one of the rectina, and its beauty is its very small size, a compact rectina with high conversion efficiency, and its size is almost around the size of 1 rupee coin. So this is the single stage Cockcroft Waltons rectifier with L-shaped impedance matching network is designed in ADS and fabricated on FR4 substrate. And the DC output of rectina is measured as 3.24 volt with a load resistance of 5 kilo, and it provides the simulated efficiency of 75.5% and measured efficiency of 68% at a input signal power of 5 dBm at 2.45 megahertz. You can see here the conversion efficiency graph. This is the variation of conversion efficiency with respect to input power, and here the variation of the conversion efficiency with respect to frequency. And here you can see the output voltage with respect to input power. Now let us talk about the applications of the wireless power harvesting system. For batteryless power sources, RF tags for shopping, smart switches for home automation, Internet of Things applications, recharging of devices, power source for smart sensors. Advantages of wireless power harvesting is conventional power sources can be replaced. Actually, there is a lot of unlimited energy is there, unlimited spectrum of sources is there, efficient source of energy, green energy, and remember, no need of periodic replacement of battery will be needed. Extended life for device due to recharging of storage battery during sleep. Future of wireless energy harvesting. There are a lot of potential for wireless power harvesting or wireless energy harvesting for applications like Internet of Things and home automation projects. Sensors, that means smart sensors technology is capable of providing low power devices with advanced embedded technology. Our future mobile Devices will be capable of using wireless charging technology as an alternative power source. Wearable devices and medical sensors will be using wireless energy as a power source. Enhanced security devices with smart sensors technology can make use of power from wireless energy harvesting. These are the references. Thank you. If anybody want to ask any question, please, you are welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Salen Roja, for a very nice and to the point illustration, well within the time, regarding the RF power harvesting. Now, participants, if you have any question or any query related to RF power harvesting, please, you are the invited for discussion.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, yeah, please.
Good.
Thank you very much, Sarinder sir, for your nice lecture.
Thank you, sir.
I have a small doubt. Suppose India is going to launch some chargeable car. The battery will run that car. So that the battery
Okay.
which is installed in that car, that battery can be charged using this your electronic.
Yes,
No,
yes,
no, Mr. Kundu, your question is very, very, some echo is there. So please mute your, Mr. Kundu, you are probably logged in from two devices.
No, sir. Only I logged in this one mobile, sir.
Okay. So now you mute yourself, Mr. Kundu, you mute yourself. Okay. So say, mobile, this electric vehicle charging require a very high power, and it may not be possible at this stage to harvest the electric vehicle battery using RF power harvesting. For that, the researchers are working on solar panel and putting solar panel on the roof of the vehicle, and the solar panels will receive the energy and will keep on charging the battery, and research work is going on. Probably Mr. Sarendoja's work is for low power, very small voltage RF power harvesting.
yes, sir.
And the basic concept behind is this: suppose we are sitting in a room, electromagnetics are everywhere. So let us tap those electromagnetic signals and convert them into light signals. So some low power voltage or night lamp type of things and such type of things can be generated using the, can be designed or can be made using this RF power harvesting. This is the basic concept behind it. And certainly when this technology will mature, we can have RF power transmission or wireless transmission, etc. Those will come at later stage, but probably at this stage we are not so matured enough to charge the electric vehicle battery. This is my point. Or anybody would like to have comment anything? Dr. Pooja Sahu, would you like to comment anything?
Uh, Thank you, sir, and thank you, Salan sir. Such a nice presentation on RF power harvesting.
Thank you, ma'am.
I don't know more aware about that, but due to your lecture, I have some clear concept about RF power harvesting. And thank you so much, sir. And if in future if I will work on that type of topic, then I will surely contact you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
So thank you very much for all of you joining today's program.
Sir, excuse me, sir. One more question, if you don't
Yeah,
mind.
please.
Sir, after the diode, that either bridge rectifier or full wave rectifier, sir have used that only the doubler circuits, that multiplier circuits. So in
Yes.
between, I think there must be some LPF, low power filter, low pass filter, so that the harmonics from the rectifier can be wiped out?
Actually, we should use the DC filters, but after the voltage multiplier, actually, so that the harmonics can be minimized and we can get the good DC.
So, if you use the wideband antenna as a receiver antenna to harvest the energy coming outsides, so the diodes which you are using as a rectifier element, that how that diode will respond that wideband frequency.
Actually, this is the reason, sir. This is the reason why the efficiency varies with respect to the frequency as well as the input power. It is not in our control, but we should try to get optimum output actually.
Suppose you have received the power at frequency of 2 to 3 gigahertz, for example. So your diode will act accordingly. That the response of the diode will act accordingly. That the device of the diode, what is the bandwidth of the diode? It should have bandwidth of 2 to 3 gigahertz. The diode bandwidth.
Actually, sir, if we'll talk about the Schottky diodes, then they doesn't have some particular bandwidth. I have shown some diodes, and from data sheet we can choose the appropriate diode depending on the particular application, like variation in various parameters and frequency range. And we should choose the diode which can provide the best output.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for all the participants. We have planned such type of small presentation or idea generation, which our young researchers are working on every Sunday at 11 a.m. or 12 noon. On next Sunday, or that is on 28th of November, we have a very eminent person, Dr. Ravi Pratap Singh Kushwaha, India head of ACE Antenna, and he will deliver a lecture, Dr. Sir C.V. Raman Memorial Lecture. So all of you are invited. Link for that will be circulated to all of you. In this presentation, today's meeting, recently one gentleman from Mr. Firsa Subkat Hamid has joined. You are writing something, but I am not able to understand. Can you ask the question directly, sir? Chat, please.
Actually, he's saying to me that I have opened 2 sources and echo is there, so he's not able to get my voice. But I have opened only 1 source.
So, okay, fine. Thank you for everybody's today joining, and we are closing the meeting. And again on next Sunday, 28th of November is the next Sunday. We shall again meet and we'll discuss some technical issue. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.